This is Sarah Haynes. In Hot Topics, we talked about Trump saying the government would reassess the recommended period for keeping businesses shut and people at home. Are you at all concerned, as Trump said, that we cannot let the cure be worse than the problem itself?
We have to take care of the cure. That will make the problem worse no matter what.
We have to take care of the cure. That will make the problem worse no matter what. That was Joe Biden earlier today on The View, not making a lick of sense. He was basically being asked to comment on Donald Trump's position that it's worth sending people back to work, even if it's unsafe for those workers and their loved ones, because the economy is more important than their health and safety. And Biden, in this moment, needed to be very clear and concise and effective in challenging that anti-worker, anti-regular person narrative from Donald Trump. And he absolutely 100% failed, because Joe Biden is not up for the task of running for president or being president at this moment in his life. Whether it's his cognitive decline, whether it's his dementia, whether it's his tired policies, Biden is not the man for this moment. And this interview, this clip, made that very, very clear. I'm not suggesting that I support Trump's position. No way am I doing that. I just made a video a few minutes ago where I called out Donald Trump's rash plan to send people back to work in their daily routines by Easter. But one of the main problems we've been seeing in the last few weeks from the Democrats is they failed to effectively, concisely, passionately offer an alternative to Donald Trump's approach during this crisis, and the result has been that working class people have been left to suffer, and the result has also been, at least thus far, that Americans actually give net support for how Donald Trump has handled this crisis. It's not overwhelming support, but more Americans feel Donald Trump is doing a good job now than a bad job. And that's not because Donald Trump's doing well, but because there's no faith in what Nancy Pelosi or Joe Biden are offering as an alternative. Joe Biden is, according to the media and the Democratic elite, the locked-in nominee for the Democratic Party and will be taking on Donald Trump. It doesn't matter that there's still half the states and basically half the delegates left to be allocated in his contest with Bernie Sanders. The point is that many have already crowned him. And Joe Biden, in interview after interview, in video after video, just demonstrates gaffe and cognitive decline after gaffe and cognitive decline. It is, just really sad and sort of cringy to watch, and you see it basically every day, except for the fact that Joe Biden, until basically yesterday, was hiding away for nearly a week where the American people needed leadership from him, needed him to propose an alternative to Donald Trump. And he failed to do so because he was hiding away, because we know the truth. Joe Biden realizes that whenever he's available to the media or public, they see who he really is. And who he really is right now is a man unfit to lead this country and lead his party into the election. This was a test for him in a short soundbite to offer a concise alternative to Trump. And the man is unable to do it. And if you look at the alternative from Bernie Sanders, you see a man who has made it very clear where he stands on this particular crisis. That it is perfectly correct for working class people, for regular people, to be practicing social distancing. But that Bernie recognizes that is only possible if regular people are given the support they need and deserve and want during these times. It's not just enough to let them know that the science says they should stay home. They need income support. They need social programs. They need health care. They need all these sorts of things that give them confidence that they won't have to make a choice between staying home and surviving. That they won't have to choose between their basic dignity and their basic economic security on the one hand, and protecting everybody else, their families and the wider community, on the other. And so that's why Bernie has come out with clear, effective, popular, ambitious proposals that will work to bail out working class people and not the corporations. And Joe Biden hasn't offered us that. And Joe Biden, even if he did have something of a plan written down in a PDF somewhere that he could send to people, doesn't have the ability to articulate that vision himself. Because again, Joe Biden is hiding away from the public. He's hiding away from the media because the goal for Joe Biden all along was beat Bernie Sanders and then hide away until November, and hopefully he'll just become president by default. But I don't know if that's going to work. And even if it could work, Joe Biden is demonstrating that if he's hiding from the American people now, he'll continue to hide from them when he's president. And the American people deserve better. They want transparency. They want the ability to communicate with their president. They want the ability to have the president communicate with them. And Joe Biden, whether it's his inability to communicate or his unwillingness to do so, has not demonstrated crucial leadership in this crucial time. So, once again, none of this is to say that Donald Trump is doing a better job. He really isn't. But it really says something when Trump's objectively terrible handling of this situation is being given positive grades by a narrow majority of Americans, because the Democratic Party, barring a few progressive members of Congress, along with Bernie Sanders, has failed to propose anything that actually meaningfully and, quickly helps working people. That's what we're dealing with right now. And if the Democratic Party wants to change the game, if they want to actually find a situation where they win the presidency in November and put somebody in charge that will stand with working people, if that's what the party wants. I don't know if the party elite want that, but I know regular Democratic voters do. Then the only choice is to radically shift support to Bernie Sanders and make him the nominee, because there's still time to do that. There's still enough delegates out there to give Bernie Sanders the win over Joe Biden. And you can already tell that the neoliberals are getting buyer's remorse. Marcos Moulitsas from Daily Kos has basically said, earlier last week, where is Joe Biden during this time of leadership? More and more mainstream neoliberal outlets can no longer ignore Joe Biden's gaffes and disappearances and cognitive decline. And you see more and more neoliberal Democrats out there start to say, gee, maybe we should redraft Elizabeth Warren, or maybe we should draft Andrew Cuomo to become the new nominee, as if to say they just want to throw Biden aside and pick another neoliberal to replace him, ignoring the fact that Bernie Sanders is in the race. And what that tells you is that even the people that backed Biden, if only to stop Bernie Sanders, they're already losing faith in Joe Biden, and it isn't even April yet. Do you think this man is going to make it to November and win in November? I have real doubts, but one thing I am confident in is that Bernie Sanders has the intellect, the stamina, the passion, and the ideals to make it to November, to win in November, and to govern for the people for the next 4 to 8 years. Because I believe in Bernie. I have no faith in Joe. I have no faith in Trump. Make Bernie Sanders the nominee. That's the only way things are going to get better.